Who? He's not playing tonight. Where would he go next week when he's ready, whenever he's ready to play?
Yeah. So how's his progress though?
Looks fine. Yeah, he's moving on. He's on the ice, so everything's going according to plan. Trainers tell me when he's ready. So.
What's the status of Strom and Lundqvist?
They're just doing maintenance.
Okay.
Same thing that's going on. Yeah, we respect that. Yeah. Can't be sure with today's world, as we said, but we expect him to play.
With Labor, I know we talked about in the last game stuff, and it seems like now he has to be ready at any time, right? But do you get a sense of a change in mood, like this, that he feels like he might play and he has to be more ready or anything like that? No?
Look, he comes in every day ready to play, Colin. He skates in the morning. As we all know what's going on in the league, what's happening, and, you know, I'm not going to go to him every time and say he's excited to be ready to play, you know. No, it's hard to answer that question, Colin. It's hard. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but it's hard to, you know, I can't speak for the kid, and you know, and we don't know what's going to happen with the lineup. So if it happens tonight, we'll be happy to talk about it after the game. But I don't know what to tell you, seriously.
It is fair to say though, Igor, you're going to give him a little more time. He's not dressing tonight. Right?
No, he's not dressed tonight. No, definitely not. Yeah.
I want to ask you about a couple of the guys have commented about feeling like they have the freedom to make mistakes and that they're not necessarily going to get benched or lose ice time because of it. So how do you, from a coaching standpoint, go about handling that balance of wanting to correct the mistakes but also wanting them to have the freedom to play their game freely?
Well, that's how I coach, and that's how most coaches coach this league. I mean, if you're going to go out there and Hedman in Tampa Bay make mistakes every game. You know, Cooper loves him. He's one of the best players in the league, Norris Trophy and that. So, I mean, mistakes happen. Mistakes are part of the game. So guys want to go out there. So I'm not going to hold guys accountable to mistakes. Now, the same mistakes are over and over and over again. Then you have to miss a shift here or maybe miss a period or miss a game. But you got to, you know, give them an opportunity. Everybody makes mistakes, and young players make mistakes, and that's going to happen. So, you know, you can't worry about all the mistakes. You got to give them the pat in the back when they make the good plays too, and it's all part of coaching. It's all part of them getting confidence and gaining confidence in their team, and that's the biggest thing. And their teammates, you know. So we'll put them back out there and hopefully put them in the right situation to succeed.
Are there certain mistakes though that are, I guess, worse than others? Like, are there things that would cross the line?
Well, when it's a 1-1 hockey game late in the game, yeah, you know. But again, when teams put pressure on you and force you to make mistakes, it's the same thing. You know, you can look back at different games and say, well, he copped a puck up here. Well, you know what? They had a real good forecheck here, and you know, so it's all part of the game. And every shift you see mistakes out there made by somebody. But you know, as a coach, I look for the good plays, and you know, mistakes happen. We can correct them, but when I'm coaching a game, I'm looking for the positive plays that the guys are going and jumping, and that's how you deserve more ice time.
Was there a coach you played for who had an impact on the way you're coaching?
I think you take a lot from everybody, but definitely Jacques Demers back in the day. I had my best 4 years as a player under Jacques, and he was pretty laid back and easy going, but his assistant coaches were more the structured guys, and the guys, you know, I think Coley Campbell, Dave Lewis were there, those type of guys, and you know, so they kept it in line, but I think it was probably Jacques.
When you were playing, and obviously when you're 27, you're not thinking about, I don't think you're thinking about what you're going to do after you're there, but when you were playing, did it get into your mind that, hey, I might like coaching, and so you were trying to evaluate the coaches, or that's putting way too much?
It really didn't. It never did. I mean, honestly, when I retired, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was going back home to Prince Edward Island, and you know, had no plan really on that. So obviously, there's a local junior A hockey team there that we all played, and when my kids growing up, we all went to the rink and watched that team, and that's where I started. And that's, you know, one of my buddies was coaching it, and I started helping out. And when we won a championship 2 years later, that's when you really got the coaching edge.
I'm sorry, for your team, this team, you have mentioned a number of times you're still working toward the complete 60-minute game. Complete 60-minute game. Calgary just mentioned that you haven't been the greatest first period team. So how do you correct that? Why has the first period, in general, you know?
I haven't noticed that. Have we been a bad first period team? is Keandre wrong, or? I
The
thought,
other night was good.
the other night was
Good
real,
games.
yeah, it's been a couple
Yeah.
games, and we had some trouble in the second periods. No,
So you don't think that's been an issue? You don't think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's been an issue where we, whether it's the first, second, or third, we've had issues in periods, but I don't think it's just the first. I really don't. Now,
So
maybe
you-
we,
so you see
maybe we can go
it-
back and look back, and you can prove me wrong, but I don't notice it being just the first period. It seems like we have a letdown in whatever period, first, second, or third, and we don't play as well hockey, but it seems to me, when that happens, it's sort of momentum, and we talked about it after the game. Like I thought we had a great period in Buffalo, the first period the other night, and then the second period was the one when we started turning pucks over, and we changed the momentum ourselves.
Hitting in today's game is so scrutinized, you know, and we see the two from Truba recently, and they're legal hits, but
Mhm.
everybody's breaking it down frame by frame by frame. How much is hitting coached at the NHL level now? Like, do you ever take a look at those and say, guys, can you?
No, I don't discuss, no, I really don't. I mean, those hits, I think they were clean hits. Are they hard hits? And, you know what I mean? Like people debate, do you take those hitting out of the game because you don't want players getting hurt? Well, it's a contact sport, it's a
Right.
heavy sport. I mean, I don't know how you take those hits out of the game. I hate to see those guys get hurt, you know, you hate that. But it's hockey, and that's what hockey is, and you take the goon stuff out of it, and the stage fighting, I agree with all that stuff, but the hitting, you gotta be careful, you know, you gotta be careful taking that, and then they're not gonna, I mean, it's aggressive plays, and as long as they're good, clean hits in the open ice, and
But, I mean, Keandre was saying, like, you know, obviously you're taught at a younger age, you know, the do's and don'ts of
Yeah.
hitting, right? I wonder, though, what I was wondering is that ever brought up at the NHL level, too? Or is it just, you let these guys are playing on instinct in those situations?
no, I think if I see one of our players that I think is a real dirty hitter, a real dirty player, I'm gonna talk to him about it. I'm not gonna like it, you know? But I mean, from what I've saw, I've never had to step in and say, you know, we gotta watch what you're doing, Troops here. I mean,
Right.
Troops is an experienced, smart player, and he knows those hits were, you know, legit hits, and like I said, he felt as bad as anybody when the kid got hurt. I mean, it was awful, it was scary for everybody, but fortunately, he's gonna be okay, you know, but.
Do you have any thoughts you'd like to share on, I guess, the league's comment that the offside call the other night?
Yeah. Me personally, myself, I still think it was the right call. I mean, I don't understand the possession part of it and not taking the stick away. So, I mean, you know, in my opinion, it's offside. You know, when you get that picture of the puck over the line, the guy with the puck almost on his stick, and their guy's still over the line, to me, it's offside. But again, they're touchy situations, and it's going to be. I know one thing as a coach, you're going to have a real tough time making that call. When you know, if it was less, if it was more than a minute, we have to challenge that. And if we challenge that, and it goes to 2-2, and then we're shorthanded, I mean, that's a tough call. Because obviously, there wasn't just the coaches that didn't know that. You know, it was. I mean, when they went to the NHL and they said they apologized and said they made a mistake. So, them are tough calls, and we're going to have to take a penalty on that. It's going to be real tough.
We just talked to Keandre. Just wanted to hear your thoughts on his game. He was talking about Colorado obviously wasn't a good game for not just the whole team, but bouncing back in that Buffalo game. Have you seen him handle the ups and downs well? So if he doesn't have a good game, are you seeing him bounce back well? Or how are you assessing him?
I like him a lot. He's been perfect this season. He's a 21-year-old kid playing top 4 minutes on the blue line. I think he hit a few down spurts, but like I said, kids are going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I think he's been outstanding. Real happy with him.
And his development, you mentioned top 4 minutes. You're playing him a lot, so obviously he's a guy you feel comfortable having in late game situations, you know, defensive situations, whatever it might be. You're comfortable with him out there.
I think Gord's put him in great situations to succeed, and he's really taken off for us. We're real happy with his development, and, you know, as a young defenseman playing back there and playing the minutes he plays.
Last thing I wanted to ask you, we're talking about your days as a player a little bit. How much did that shape your playing days, shape maybe how you are as a coach, and understanding maybe how every reaction you have, things you might say to the players, the way you interact with them, how that might affect the whole locker room? Like how much does that
I
make it
definitely think it does, for sure. I look back at when I played, and sometimes I make decisions on, you know, as a player, you know, I took a lot of dumb penalties in my days. You know, and you go back and you look at some of that stuff, and emotion's a big part of it. I like guys having some emotion, you know, and as a coach, you're saying, let's stay in the penalty box. Well, sometimes it happens, you take those bad penalties, and, you know, you can't penalize guys for that, you know. You gotta play the game, you gotta work hard, but it's a game of emotion, it's a fast-paced game, and so I definitely look at some of those decisions as the players and think back on those days, for sure.
So being laid back, giving them freedom, that's something that you're consciously doing because you want them to feel that they have that leeway from you.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. That's the way I've coached from day one, probably not gonna change much.